Why do you feel stressed all the time, even when nothing major is happening? This is not just psychological. It is a biological pattern shaped by how your brain processes threat, prediction, and recovery. Stress is controlled by a system called the HPA axis, which links the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal glands. When your brain detects a threat, this system releases cortisol, increasing energy availability, alertness, and cardiovascular activity. This response is adaptive in the short term, but your brain does not clearly distinguish between physical danger and psychological stress, meaning deadlines, uncertainty, and even internal thoughts can activate the same pathway. Under normal conditions, cortisol follows a circadian rhythm, rising in the morning and declining at night. But repeated activation disrupts this rhythm, leading to sustained or dysregulated cortisol levels that affect sleep architecture, metabolism, and emotional regulation. At the same time, the autonomic nervous system shifts towards sympathetic dominance, meaning your body stays in a state of activation, while parasympathetic recovery, the system responsible for rest and restoration, becomes underutilized. This imbalance leads to what is known as allostatic load, which represents the cumulative physiological cost of repeated stress adaptation. And over time, this affects multiple systems, including immune function, endocrine balance, and neural efficiency. Now consider the brain. Chronic stress alters neural function by reducing activity and connectivity in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive control, working memory, and decision-making, while increasing reactivity in the amygdala, which heightens threat detection and emotional responses. This creates a functional imbalance where regulation decreases and reactivity increases, making you more sensitive to stressors and less able to control attention and emotion. Now add cognitive load. Your brain has limited processing capacity and continuous information input. Notifications, multitasking, decision-making keeps working memory engaged, preventing recovery and maintaining a state of low-level activation. From a psychological perspective, perceived lack of control and unpredictability are key drivers of stress, because the brain's predictive systems prioritize reducing uncertainty, and when outcomes are unclear, vigilance increases. This is further amplified by attentional bias, where your brain selectively focuses on potential threats, increasing perceived stress even in relatively safe environments. Now combine these systems. The HPA axis activates repeatedly, cortisol regulation breaks down, sympathetic activity remains elevated, allostatic load accumulates, prefrontal control weakens, amygdala reactivity increases, and cognitive and psychological factors maintain the cycle. This creates chronic stress. Now consider daily behavior. Checking your phone immediately after waking increases cognitive load and activates stress systems before recovery is complete. And constant exposure to stimuli throughout the day prevents the nervous system from returning to baseline. This is why stress becomes a baseline state rather than a response. Now the key insight. Stress is not defined by intensity alone, but by frequency and lack of recovery, meaning even low-level stress, repeated continuously, can produce significant physiological and psychological effects. Now the solution must target the system. First, reduce activation frequency by limiting unnecessary stimuli and creating periods of low input, allowing the HPA axis to downregulate. Second, regulate physiology through slow breathing and movement, which increase parasympathetic activity and reduce sympathetic dominance. Third, reduce cognitive load by simplifying decisions and minimizing multitasking, giving the prefrontal cortex the capacity to function effectively. Fourth, increase predictability through structured routines, reducing uncertainty and lowering stress responses. Fifth, rebuild recovery by incorporating both sleep and intentional rest periods, allowing physiological systems to reset. And finally, recognize baseline stress, because chronic stress often becomes normalized, and what feels normal may actually be a dysregulated state. Stress is not permanent. It is a learned and reinforced pattern across brain, body, and behavior. And once you understand the mechanism, you can begin to reverse it. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Nexplain